iPhone 16 Pro Max, Pixel 9 Pro XL, which one of these devices should you get? Well, in today's video, it's going to be a comparison video between these two phones. So if you are excited, drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel, let's get started. So, most of you are very interested in today's comparison because comparing the iPhone 16 Pro Max, Apple's flagship phone, against the Pixel 9 Pro XL, Google's flagship phone, should be a very interesting comparison, right? And with that, you are not wrong. These are two best flagships on the planet. You have to consider the Samsung S24 Ultra, but I don't have that phone right now. So, comparing the native Android experience against the iOS native experience should be a very interesting comparison. But here's the thing, and now I'm going to disappoint you. It's pointless. Because comparing these two devices is pointless. There's no point in me comparing the iPhone 16 Pro Max against the Pixel 9 Pro XL. You want to know why? Because most people have made their mind. Most people won't switch from the iPhone 16 Pro Max to the Pixel 9 Pro XL. Most people won't buy any of these devices by watching this video. No, and there are some people that even have both. So there's no point in me comparing these two devices. The only thing is worth comparing is iOS against Android. Because in terms of hardware, there's no comparison. The iPhone, in my opinion, has better hardware in overall matters than the Pixel. But the Pixel possesses Android. And for most people, that's enough for them to choose the Pixel 9 Pro XL. I've compared the 9 Pro XL and the iPhone 15 Pro Max in the past, in every category, from battery life to speakers to display to camera, and I have a full video for that, so go check it out. So if you want to see a comparison between these two devices, a full-fledged comparison, go check out that video. The differences between the 16 Pro Max and the 15 Pro Max is literally camera control and a 40 megapixel ultra-wide lens. So it's not big of a difference, and that video I think explains well the big differences in terms of hardware and these two phones. Again, if you want to know, 16 Pro Max features the camera control. The Pixel 9 Pro XL does not feature any type of physical control for the camera. If you do enjoy this new thing on the iPhone, so you can zoom in, zoom out, it's haptic touch, is also physical shutter button for your camera, then it's cool. Here's a quick rundown spec list from these two phones. The Pixel 9 Pro XL has 3 cameras, 2 40 megapixel cameras, 1 50 megapixel telephoto. The iPhone 15 Pro Max has 2 40 megapixel cameras and a 12 megapixel telephoto. Both telephotos are 5x, the wide camera and the ultra wide are 48, the wide camera and the ultra wide are 48. They're about the same field of view. The iPhone shoots better video, the Pixel 9 Pro shoots different photos with a different processing system, and the camera systems here really, they are not worse one than another, they are just different. The Pixel 9 Pro takes worse video, so if you do prefer video over photography, then the iPhone is the better choice for that. But again, Android versus iOS. As for the displays, both have 120 Hz. The Pixel 9 Pro XL can reach 3000 nits of peak brightness. The iPhone 2 does not really matter. And both have USB-C 3.0 on the back. Both have wireless charging. The iPhone charges at 25 watts wirelessly. The Pixel, I think, is also at 20 watts wirelessly, 15 watts, I think. It's not the Qi2 standard system. I don't think it has that. You can fast charge at almost 40 watts, 37 watts if I'm not wrong, via USB-C cable. The iPhone, I think, is still 30 watts or 32 watts, whatever, with USB-C cable. They both have glass backs, but the iPhone has a titanium frame, while the Pixel has an aluminum frame. They both weigh out about the same, maybe a 10-gram difference. In the hand, the iPhone feels more premium, and it has that heft that Apple products always have. They feel premium. The weight distribution, in my opinion, is better thought because it gives you a different weight distribution. It's almost like it's uniform. The weight is uniform. While the Pixel, well, is not as well built. Although this year, Google actually did an amazing job improving the quality of the 9 Pro. It's really, really good. The new design feels more comfortable in the hand, feels more premium, and feels smooth, while it being also flat, which is Apple's best work, in my opinion. And yeah, the front display, this one is 6.8, if I'm not wrong, 6.8 inch display. This one is 6.9, about the same. If you put them side by side, like, again, let me see if I can put the colors. I mean, if you put them side by side, they're about the same size. So yeah, on the back, I think I do think the 9 Pro looks a bit better than the iPhone. The iPhone is very familiar, while the Pixel 9 Pro XL looks different overall than other smartphones. As for one thing that annoys me on the Pixel is the buttons having always on the same side. I will always say this in every video about the Pixel 9 Pro XL. I prefer the iPhone's method of having separate buttons on separate sides. They do they're separate things, so having volume and lock button on different sides makes it easier to distinguish on the pocket. And other than that, these are all the hardware differences between these two devices. Oh, the Pixel does not have any type of customizable buttons, no action button, nothing, while the iPhone has the action button and the camera control. The Pixel 9 Pro XL, I think you can customize this button right here, the lock button, to do other things, but specific customizable buttons like, I don't know, the action button or even the camera control, can be a camera shutter. The 9 Pro XL does not have that, but it has Android, while this one has iOS, and that's the thing that I would touch on today, because that's the most important part of today's video. Comparing iOS and Android is like comparing apple to oranges. They are very, very different types of software. They do the same thing, but they are very different types of software. Just like apples and oranges are both food, you can both eat them, they are both sugary, so they are sweet, they have different tastes. And iOS and Android, the same thing. iOS is more controlled. It's a more controlled environment. It's more secure, and it's a different experience overall. It's less customizable than Android, although it has seen lots of customization added to its software system on iOS 18, it's still a very controlled system by Apple, while Android is pure freedom. But not always is that great, because it's also more messy, it's also less private, it's also more dangerous if you don't know what you are doing. So Android and iOS are different. Always, and they'll always be. Android is an open source software, while Apple's iOS software is really closed down. You can buy Android in any type of smartphone nowadays. You can only get iOS on the iPhone. So if you do prefer the open source ecosystem of Android devices, so a Pixel 9 Pro XL, a Samsung Watch, Pixel Buds, or OnePlus Buds, whatever, nothing earbuds, go for the Android device. If you prefer Apple's closed down ecosystem with AirPods, Apple Watch, the Mac, the iPad, the iPhone is simply the phone for you. So I won't be here comparing these two devices saying, oh, the iPhone has a better camera than the Pixel, but the Pixel has a very good software and lots of AI than the iPhone, and all of this is really cool, but at the end of the day, you don't really care. If you love the Pixel, you buy the Pixel. If you love the Android experience, you will buy the Pixel. If you love iOS, you will support the iPhone. So this is not a video that I think should be made anymore. You can compare the cameras, it's an objective thing, but at the end of the day, the main point of the video, the main opinion saying this one is better, this one is better, it's subjective. If you prefer Android, even though the Pixel 9 Pro, in my opinion, has inferior hardware, you will choose the 9 Pro. And lots of people that were watching the video of the 9 Pro XL and the 15 Pro Max, they say that thing, oh, the Pixel has better software, oh, the Pixel has this feature, this software feature that the iPhone does not have. And I'm like, So most people are not watching the video because of the hardware. Most people are watching the video because of the software, and they want to validate their opinion that this software is better than the other one. So in today's video, I'm not saying that. In today's video, I'm saying if you want an Android device, if you want an Android phone, and you love Android, why are you watching a comparison video between a Pixel 9 Pro XL and a 16 Pro Max just to validate your opinion, to validate your own taste? You don't need to. Buy the Pixel 9 Pro XL. You'll be happy with it. It's a great, great device. Is it worth $1,200 or $1,100 in the USA? It isn't. That's my opinion. I think this hardware is not premium enough for the $1,200. I said it in last video and I'm saying it again. While the 16 Pro Max, I think it's closer to the value that Apple charges for it. But it runs iOS. So if you don't like iOS, closed down ecosystem, Apple's methods of working, and Apple software, don't buy the 16 Pro Max then. It will be a disappointing experience for you. So at the end of the day, it's truly not a Pixel 9 Pro XL versus a 16 Pro Max, Apple versus Google. No, it's Android versus iOS. And that's the real comparison that you need to make in these videos. Android versus iOS. So at the end of the day, it's not what has the better hardware, which one is the better value. It isn't. It's which software do you prefer, Android or iOS. And so let me know in the comments below which is your favorite, the Pixel 9 Pro XL's Android or the iPhone 16 Pro Max iOS, because that will dictate your choice, not the cameras, not the display, not the battery life, not USB-C, not titanium, not the camera control, not AI, any of that. It's Android versus iOS at the end of the day. So yes, I was making this video and I was thinking, how can I compare these two phones on a different way? And I was like, I don't need to. I just need to talk about Android versus iOS, because truly the end point of these comparisons, it always ends up being Android versus iOS. Which one do you prefer? It's the question. So let me know in the comments below what one do you prefer, and while you're there, drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for watching. Bye bye.